Hey everyone, George Christie here with Wine Industry Network. Welcome to another edition of the Wine Educational Webinar Series. Now today's webinar is sponsored by Della Toffola and it's titled AI is the core of the next generation of Della Toffola presses. AI, of course, stands for artificial intelligence. And it's just another great example of how technology is impacting literally every aspect of our industry. In this case, we're going to take a close look at the latest technology that Della Toffola is using with their presses, and it's actually quite amazing. I think you're going to enjoy this. Now, as a reminder, we always pre-record these sessions a couple of days in advance, and we do that so that you can be submitting questions to our presenters literally while they're presenting. So both of our speakers are going to be in the chat room. They're going to be looking for those questions as they come in, and they're going to be picking them off literally as you submit them. So take advantage of that. It's really why we want to, it's why we do this. We want to make sure that you're getting the most of the time that you're spending with us. So we've got a couple great presenters today. We've got Yassine Amami. He is the Research and Development Director for Della Toffola. And we're going to be starting with Lorenzo Forbici. Lorenzo is the Innovation and Project Manager for Della Toffola USA. I think that about covers it. Once again, I want to thank Della Toffola for their sponsorship. I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Okay, Lorenzo, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, George. Thanks for hosting us, and thanks everybody for joining us today in this first webinar, first one of a series where we are going to present some innovation from Della Toffola, our company. Della Toffola is a group spread worldwide. We are representing now the California-based branch. We follow all the 50 states, and we have representatives and service technicians all over the states. Today, we're going to talk about our new press system. It's a press system that is based on artificial intelligence, so there's no any more programming needed. The main meaning in developing this system was on how we could be able to make the job easier for the winemaker and all the crew involved into the harvest. During the harvest, we all know that you are a lot busy. So our goal was to try to free the main participant of the harvest, mainly the winemakers, to have the time and the focus to be more concentrated on what requires their real skills and competence and knowledge. The main goal, as we said, of this kind of presses and basically all our new development is how can we help you out in being focused on what is really needed and free your time, free your presence to be independent. More in detail, the presses system and the AMPELOS system will be explained by our research and development responsible, Yassine Amami, is joining us today from Italy. So thanks also, Yassine, to be here with us today. And I leave the word to him to have a nice technical presentation. Yassine, please.
Good morning, and thanks to my colleague Lorenzo for his introduction. As has been said, I'm head of R&D for Della Toffola Group, and so I will be outlining the technical details of our new AMPELOS line. I will show you how it works and how will its innovative AI can overcome the biggest problem generally encountered with presses today: the time-consuming management of multiple grape types and the program to associate each single variety with. With our new line of presses, the first challenge they address is that the operator or winemaker, can be a technician, no longer has to interpret the response of the product during the pressing cycle. The press independently manages different kinds of products by recognizing the behavior of the grape itself with respect to the various action to which it was subject and also to its own density. The press autonomously adjusts the start of rotation, the number of revolutions for crumbling, the frequency of crumbling, and the direction of rotation. Another challenge with traditional presses is that in order to complete the pressing cycle, the operator is required to intervene and at the minimum act on the press to make it pass from one phase to another, pressing, unloading, washing. With the AMPELOS line, however, in particular with automatic models, we have a fully automatic pressing cycle in all its phases, a cycle that proceeds autonomously from the start of filling to the end of the washing, and for which no intervention by the operator is required. In today's normal presses, we have many programs available. We know everybody with all the kind of presses, we have more than 15, 20 kind of programs, but they are never used. You always end up using 1, 2, maximum 3. So you reduce the efficiency of the process. In addition, the pressing time are always prolonged beyond what is necessary to maximize grape drying. With the artificial intelligence that we have developed, the operator has the possibility to choose the cycle according to the different drivers, quality, speed drying, both, or also kind of special grapes. So then the press will adapt its action by combining the data detected by the sensor with the results that you want to get. Finally, with respect to the washing, up to now, operators must go inside of the press, and the intervention has always been necessary. But the new automatic washing solution that we can integrate into the new AMPELOS presses is fully automatic, thanks to the various integrated devices, which we will see in detail shortly. The operator does not have to do anything, and the result is perfect cleaning of the press. The new AMPELOS press consists of a series of presses differentiated by the increasing degree of automation. It's important to know that all the presses we produce, as well as those of our competitors, have the individual phases of the cycle automated. However, and currently, to pass from one to another, an operator must intervene to confirm the passage to the next phase and then personally check whatever the machine is ready to do so or not. In our line, what we call automatic is the ability to pass from one phase to another without the need for human intervention, and all checks are carried by the machine. In the intelligent press, the filling and pressing phases are automatic. In the AMPELOS fully automatic press, automatically carries out all the phases of the cycle from filling to washing. The automatic press automatically carries out all the phases of cycle from filling to washing. The continuous pneumatic pressing center, in addition to performing all the cycle automatically, offer the possibility by associating 3 presses to work continuously. Now, we are going to show in details the characteristics that make this possible for each phase of the pressing cycle. During the filling phases, the implemented system, thanks to a series of sensors installed on the machine and connected to an artificial intelligence algorithm, allows an automatic monitoring of the moist ratio with respect of the quality to the quality of grapes loaded into the press in real time. This monitoring takes place with flow meters, load cells, control of the filling speed of the crushing grape pump in order to maintain an excellent extraction ratio of the moist, greater flow rate at the beginning of filling, and lower when the press begins to fill. This is because when the press has reached a certain level of filling, the wort takes longer to reach the discharge manifolds. Like we can see on this slide, the program ensures the distribution of the grapes mass inside the press through the weight cells by measuring in which area we have the most grapes. Consequently, the direction of rotation is chosen with to homogenize the mass in the drum. You can see on this slide that the different colors are related to different rotation and sense of rotation in base of where we have more grapes in the drum. And when we stop the filling of the press, we have no rotation. So this is the best system to reduce the number of rotation. The reduction to a minimum of the numbers of crumbles who thus have less lees, fewer polyphenol, less turbidity, and less bitter taste in the future wine, while ensuring an optimized extraction. I remind you that our presses have a fully with a 360 degrees grids that cover all the surface of the drum and in all the lengths. So all this in turn is enhanced by the fact that the algorithm adapts to the type of grapes by performing more or less crumbling. And they also adapt to the needs of the winemaker, filling speed, filling capacity, and absolute product quality. For the pressing phase, the algorithm always tries to extract the maximum quantity of must in the shortest possible time, in total autonomy and adapting perfectly to the difficulty of the grape. During the first phase of the cycle, it will particularly insist on the quality and optimize the extraction of the free-run must, volume and time. Subsequently, the algorithm will try to ensure the fastest possible drying. The installed algorithm knows how to make the most of what we already had, the strongest point of our presses with the central membrane. In particular, the recovery of quality must with a gradual increase in pressure between 0.02 and 0.08 bar for micro increments. The membrane inflates and consequently the flow increases. When the flow begins to decrease, the membrane inflates again. But when the flow no longer increases and run despite an increase of pressure and the flow drops too much, the membrane deflates, creating the vacuum and start to make a crumble. The grapes drying times are controlled by optimizing the time ratio of extraction efficiency. The algorithm works to completely remove wasted and unnecessary work times, monitoring in real time the flow of the must leaving the press. The colorimeter is a very important system that allows a selection of the quality and a separation of most basing of the color and its intensity. This device is composed of a color sensor and a turbidimeter, which allow to know in real time the color of the must without its turbidity, directly from the screen. The work is done via a neural network. This allows the winemaker to select in a very practical way when to switch from the must to the second pressing quality. As you can see, the graphic interface shows a color Pantone on which you can select an acceptable range of colors for the first quality, thus defining that beyond this selection, the must will be considered in the second quality. This technology allows us to extrapolate the color of the must mixture and therefore to know the final color of our tanks. This allowing us to anticipate any corrective treatment for color and or oxidation, adding PVPP, charcoal, and this can be done in line. Emptying phase. Our unloading times are greatly reduced thanks to the presence of two opposing doors that we are the only ones to offer. The design of the blades inside the drum during rotation direct the mount towards the center of the drum and thus facilitates its exit. Once the press is empty, The emptying cycle stops automatically to avoid wasting time and is a dynamic cycle that automatically adapts to the filling level of the press. In our fully automated system, even the distribution of the mark in the collection containers is optimized thanks to the presence of ultrasonic sensors that allows the container to be filled in the best possible way. A rinse is performed at the end of each pressing cycle. This allows us to always have a clean press and always perfectly clean drainage grids. Rinsing is a very quick operation and very easy to rinse the tray, the press on pipe, the axial filling, the manifolds, and the press drum. The washing phase, on the other hand, represents a complete operation that is carried out promptly in the evening after the end of all the pressing cycle. This step is completely automatic and does not require human presence. The fact that we have central membranes makes cleaning the press more difficult, and this is a topic that our competitors often play. On the other hand, with two opposite doors, we make this operation possible automatically. This is impossible with a side membrane which had only one discharge door. The water chute already open for rinsing is closed to ensure water recovery. The upper doors opens, the robotic washing arms fit into the drum. The membrane is inflating slightly in order to eliminate all the interstices between the folds and facilitate cleaning. At this moment, the actual washing begins. The rotating water jet cleans the entire upper part of the drum and membrane. After an initial washing phase, when the load cells detect that a certain amount of water has already been used, the lower doors is also opened in order to drain, together with the water, the residues of mark removing and fallen to the bottom of the drum. Once the washing of the upper parts of the press has been completed, the washing arms is extracted, the membranes deflated, and the press turns out 180 degrees to prepare the washing of the part of the drum which was previously facing downwards. The arm is positioned again, the drum closed, and the membrane partially inflated. Then the washing for the second half of the drum starts. In the second stage, the complete removal of mark residues is facilitated by two nozzles of water placed on the bottom of the drums at both ends. Two intense lateral jets of water push all the residues from the end towards to the center of the drum by making the exit through the central door. The arm position itself, again, the drum closes and the membrane partially inflates. The washing for the second half of the drum then starts. Unlike intelligent presses, automatic presses are equipped by the standard with a washing water recovery system. Usually, clean water is used at the beginning of the wash. This water is collected and used the next morning for the first rinse, and the rinse allows us to empty most of the grapes from the press, are then carried out with recycled water, which will be subsequently discarded. All the wastewater is directed to the recovery system, where the pomace residues are separated and discarded in a collection bin, and the water is stored again to be used in a subsequent washing cycle. It's important to underline that the exit point of the washing water and the grape pomace is a single point under the pre-filter which separate them. The extraction time of the free-run must is on average less than 18 minutes after the filling of the press, which lasts between 40 and 50 minutes. The extraction of the quality must is closed in less than 20 minutes, and the drying ends after 40 minutes. We are talking about very short times. A complete cycle of filling and pressing lasts a maximum of 1 hour and 50 minutes, with a minimum number of rotation, maximum extraction, constant pressing quality. So we obtain quality and quantity in a short time and with total operational ease. There is no logic of gradual, like you can see on the slide, of gradual or less pressurized. The system managed very slow climbs and optimizing their efficiency. The most important thing to remember is that it's not the increase of pressure that alone causes an increase in the pH of the most dominant fraction of potassium, but it's the crumbling. The system adapts to the condition, records the data of soft pressing, and uses them to improve the performance of subsequent ones with a self-learning system. To summarize, therefore, the advantage of the AMPELOS line can be summarized as follows: shorter pressing cycle, less oxidation, softer pressing, less turbidity, less lees, better yield up to 87%. We are talking about weight by weight, not liquid by weight. A single program for which I only need to set a few drivers, adaptation to specific grapes with automatic tuning, fully automatic, no skilled labors. One further evolution of the line consists of the continuous pneumatic pressing center, an integrated pressing system we are going to see just in the next slide. The continuous pneumatic pressing center is an integrating pressing system which allows you to work in a continuous cycle using all the technology of the AMPELOS presses. The system consists of 3 presses connected by sensors and artificial intelligence and integrated into a single structure that allows maximum versatility. The continuous mode is achieved by creating a synergy between several single presses of small dimension, used in a discontinuous mode with a great focus on quality. This aspect allows to have high capacities with relatively small presses and gives an important qualitative advantage. The time between the start of filling and the end of the mass recovery for each press is very low, as opposed to what happens with large continuous pressing system where the filling and extraction time of the mass is enormously long and the expense of quality. CPR, the CPA, which is a continuous pressing automatic sander, therefore, has all the advantages that are generally mutually exclusive in a pressing cycle: speed, quality, and yield. The cycle begins when the first press is filled. When the first press starts pressing, the second press starts filling. Once the second is also full, the third is filled. The second press goes into pressing and the first empties and rinse, and so on. In all this, it's a single person who manages the entire continuous cycle from filling to emptying up to washing. However, the physical presence of the person is only necessary for the management of the grapes receiving tank, offload bin, for safety reasons, cannot be automated. The system automatically sends detailed pressing reports, all the data, and for managing and quality management for those seeking full traceability and monitoring of pressing result by vineyard and grapes type. This system, being safe, totally closed, can be also managed remotely. A final element that is important to emphasize is related to the fact that the use of the 3 presses individually or in a continuous cycle can be modulated as needed. As we can see in this slide, the 3 presses can be used in a total continuous cycle. We can also remove one and use it with a single feeding line as a single press with a single outlet line and 2 in continuous, or we can use the 3 presses in a fully independent cycles, so we can have and work with 3 different presses. We are going to show you a testimony from the seller of Boisset Group, the 3rd French group in which we have recently installed a pressing center. We also have a very interesting installation in South Africa in a Levenkuil vineyard.
La direction de Boisset Effervescence a décidé de créer un nouveau vendangeoir pour les vins sans indication géographique à Nuits-Saint-Georges. Pour accueillir les productions de notre vignoble, nous avons ce partenariat auprès de Della Toffola. Le site est le premier en Europe équipé de cette technologie. Le principe étant de transformer un flux continu de raisins en une succession de pressoirs qui fonctionnent en communication l'un avec l'autre, mais qui sont des pressoirs pneumatiques.
La relation entre le groupe Boisset et la société Della Toffola est ancienne. Historiquement, Della Toffola a toujours filtré les vins de la société Boisset grâce au filtre qui Ségur. Nous avons également fourni d'autres types de matériel, notamment des flottations ainsi que des pompes à piston. Fin 2018, la société Boisset m'expose son projet Vivace, donc un vignoble innovant en Val-de-Saône. Et parallèlement, Della Toffola travaille sur un système de pressurage automatisé. Les 2 projets vont être mis en commun. L'historique de confiance entre nos 2 sociétés va permettre de travailler sur un projet de cahier des charges dans le but de répondre à la demande de ce centre de pressurage automatisé. Donc, ce qui a séduit la société Boisset, c'est le caractère innovant du CPA, le fait que ça soit aussi le premier en Europe qui soit installé. Le centre de pressurage automatisé, c'est une gestion automatique de toutes les phases du pressurage, donc le remplissage, l'égouttage, le pressurage en lui-même, la vidange, la gestion des mares et le lavage du pressurage. Le CPA, ça a été 2 axes de travail. Le premier, c'est l'intelligence artificielle. C'est un algorithme qui va gérer elle-même le pressurage le plus doux possible, le plus rapide possible pour obtenir les meilleurs jus. Le deuxième axe de travail, ça a été l'installation d'un Colorimeter en ligne pour sélectionner les jus par rapport au choix du vinificateur et la couleur des jus qui vont sortir.
La direction de Boisset Effervescence a décidé de créer un nouveau vendangeoir pour les vins sans indication géographique à Nuits-Saint-Georges. Le but étant de substituer une partie, voire la totalité, de nos approvisionnements étrangers, en particulier Espagne et Italie, par des vins d'origine France.
Thanks, Yassine, for your clear presentation. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks you for attending this webinar, this first one. If you want to reach out to us for having the webinar recorded, just write to me. You can find my information on the screen right now. We are also scheduling a time for Yassine to be present in the United States and to come visit our customer directly in person to better explain physically what we can do for you. So if you want to join us in this schedule, just let us know, write me back, and I will call you or write you back to schedule our time with Yassin. Thanks again for coming here, and thanks for the Wine Industry Network for this chance.